Out of all the fundamentals in basketball, having a smooth, consistent shooting form is one of the most important. Not everyone has the same shooting form, so do not think an unorthodox form does not work, because some say if it works, don't fix it. Although, learning and having the key components to a jump shot will overall create a better shot for any player. It is also important to know that a shooting form with the least movements is the most consistent. Shooting a basketball is a course of actions that contain simultaneous and individual movements including bending and loading the knees, raising the elbow up, and the flick of the wrist. Before even entering the shooting form, a successful shooter must be able to be ready by having their knees slightly bent, having ready hands, and loading their knees. Before catching the ball or doing a pull-up jump shot, the knees should already be slightly bent, but prior to the actual shot, the knees should bend a little more. The knees is where most of the power in a shot occurs. Along with slightly bent knees, a player should have their ready hands open. Ready hands are prepared to catch and shoot the ball. Ready hands prepare the player to catch the ball and square up their shot, as well as allow the player to make a quick move. After a player has been passed the ball or has had the ball, the knees are now loading and getting ready for a shot. Loading knees gets the shooter one step ahead because if a player catches the ball and bends their knees, the momentum and power of the shot goes down to the ground and then back up. Loading knees allow the power from the legs to go only upwards into the arm. The second major section to shooting a basketball is the bending of the elbow, raising the elbow, and preparing for the flick of the wrist. After the knees are loaded, the player catches the ball with their ready hands and bends their elbow closer to their body, essentially bringing the ball closer to their body as well. In this position, the hand should be behind the ball, not on top. This helps create less movement because a hand above the ball will have to bend backwards so the ball faces outwards, basically creating an extra unnecessary step. Following that, the elbow should start to raise and face outwards. The ball should now be on top of the palm and the elbow should be bent to about a 90-degree angle. The elbow should not be bent outwards or inwards, but in line with the body. Now comes the vertical straightening of the body. The straightening of the body prepares the power from the knees to be transferred to the arms, working simultaneously with the jump. This occurs right before the extension of the arms and the flick of the wrist. The final and perhaps the most difficult part of shooting a basketball is the power transfer and flick of the wrist, consisting of jumping, extending the shooting and guided arm, and of course the flick of the wrist. When a player jumps, they should simultaneously straighten their body, which allows the power and momentum of the legs to travel through the body into the arm. Many players may experience a shot with low power, which is likely caused by them not being able to smoothly transfer the power from the legs to the arms. It is also important to note that the legs do not solely create the power, but it is the smooth and fluid straightening of the body and jump. At the peak of the jump, the extending of the shooting and guide arm occur. This happens synchronously with the flick of the wrist. The guide arm should only guide the ball to the point where it is above the palm of the shooting arm. The guide arm's wrist should not flick simultaneously with the other hand, or else it interferes with the ball spin pattern. The last step is the flick of the wrist. When the wrist flicks, the fingers should be facing down but above the hoop. Many people apply an analogy taking a cookie from a jar to this movement, where the jar is the hoop. Holding this position is called a follow-through and helps with the muscle memory of a shot. A follow-through also helps with completing the shooting form by making sure that the shot does not end early. To conclude, shooting a basketball consists of three major sections: the bending and loading of the knees, raising the elbow, and the flick of the wrist. It is important to remember that not everyone's shot looks alike, but mastering these key components will certainly help create a better shooting form. The mastery of this important fundamental skill will definitely make any basketball player one step ahead of their competition.